Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for June the 8th, 2020. We are on the road to WWE Backlash. The final stop is this Friday on SmackDown. We have some developments to discuss. Well, maybe not a lot, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started with this recap. Shout out to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership. We kicked off Raw with what we thought was going to be a match, Asuka versus Charlotte. However, the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Sasha Banks and Bayley, came out. Because they're the champs, they can appear on both shows. They bragged about their win, and Asuka basically told them to get out. It's her ring. Bayley said they can go on any brand they want since they're the champions. Charlotte came out finally, and she said the people want to see her versus Asuka. That's when we had the Iconics come out, and they said the people really want to see the Iconics beat Sasha Banks and Bayley and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the women's tag team titles. And of course, that match is this Sunday at Backlash, which just might be the greatest wrestling pay-per-view of all time. So anyways, you guys know the drill here. Fight breaks out with everybody, and then holla, 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 players. We have a tag team match made. Triple threat tag team match. And basically the storyline here was that Asuka was on the verge of winning. She had Billie Kay beat. And that's when Charlotte tagged herself in, hit the big boot. She was going to hit the moonsault, but then Asuka tagged herself back in, put on the Asuka lock, and Billie Kay tapped out. After the match, Charlotte attacked Asuka, beat her up, and I'm like, you guys did 30 minutes of this show with these people. Hopefully this is the end of it. But then it was announced that later on the show in the main event, it was going to be Asuka versus Charlotte. I am so tired of Charlotte. Just saying, she's great and all, but WWE is really overexposing her on TV. Going back to the Attitude Era, when Steve Austin was red hot, there got to a point where Austin was on TV so much and WWE realized he was being overexposed. So they actually cut back on his segments a little bit. He would go from being on like 3 or 4 segments during the show to just one segment so he would not become overexposed. WWE just doesn't care when it comes to Charlotte. We must have more Charlotte 24/7 every single week. Charlotte, Charlotte, Charlotte. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, is Charlotte supposed to be a tweener? I think she's a heel. I guess it just depends on what the storyline calls for. And for this particular match, I guess she was a babyface, but not really. I guess a tweener. And then she just went back to being a heel afterwards. I don't know. Caleb Jacobs with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. He says, sorry to go off topic. I just saw an interview with Alex Riley with Chris Van Vliet. Do you think that the varsity villain from NXT would be great for NWA? Well, I do not know who the varsity villain is, unless that's Alex Riley. I was not aware that was his name. I haven't seen any work from Alex Riley since he left WWE, so I have no idea what he's all about. So, unfortunately, I cannot answer that question, Caleb, because I'm not sure what Alex Riley is doing. So, my apologies. We had a recap of the whole Seth Rollins storyline with Rey Mysterio. And then Rollins came down to the ring and he took Byron Saxton's spot at the commentary desk to hear from Rey Mysterio, because Mysterio was going to discuss his career, maybe announce a retirement. WWE was really teasing this. This was WWE's big hook for Raw. Is Rey Mysterio going to retire? Seriously. So anyways, we had a commercial break, and then when we came back, Mysterio was interviewed via satellite again. He said his doctor did not want to make any promises, but the prognosis on Mysterio's eye injury is promising. No promises, but promising. And then Rey got very angry, very emotional. He said he has a 619 with the Monday Night Messiah's name written all over it, and he's going to kick his ass when he comes back. Rollins said he wants to give Rey Mysterio one more chance to walk away and retire gracefully. Rollins then invited Ray to come to Raw next week with his son Dominic, and he wants Rey to come in peace. Rollins continued to talk, and then all of a sudden, Aleister Black jumps over the announce table and attacks the Monday Night Messiah. And then when we came back from the commercial, we had another tag team match, Aleister Black and Humberto against Don't Call Him Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory. Ken, terminated by Google with a $5.40 super chat, says, I am so sick of Charlotte. Riff's quote of 2020 so far. Seriously, I am getting obnoxious Triple H vibes from 2002 and 2003. That's actually a pretty good comparison, except Triple H did not even go on both shows. If he was on both shows, JBL would not have gotten that push, as Paul Heyman put it at One Night Stand. The only reason JBL won the title was because Triple H did not want to work Tuesdays. And there you go. Psyche Kraka mentioned that too in the chat room. And so did Kayfabe Candy Ass. So we had a tag team match here, which was a pretty quick one. Aleister Black pinned Murphy, and then Seth Rollins came out to Rey Mysterio's music. He was wearing a Ray mask, and the disciples, not Ed Leslie, the other disciples, beat the crap out of Aleister Black, and then Rollins gave Black the curb stomp. No announcement about a match at Backlash, but one would think that that would be a match at Backlash. Maybe they're going to save it for the next pay-per-view. We had Randy Orton interviewed backstage, and he teased the idea that the Peep Show, Christian and Edge, would not be limited to just Edge as the guest. We had the segment, the Peep Show, Christian coming back, his first appearance on Raw in quite a while. I think since the Raw reunion last summer. Edge came out, and Christian said he needed to be honest with Edge. He said that he thinks Edge is running on fumes. And then the crowd started chanting, "You still got it." And I have to agree with Uncle Dave Meltzer on this one. This was pretty cringy, these Performance Center chants like, "You still got it." Like, ugh. It just feels so forced and unnatural, man. But Christian, he turned up the heat here. He said that this match being billed the greatest wrestling match of all time, Christian had to lay a truth bomb on Edge because he did not think even in Edge's prime, Edge would be able to pull it off. This would have been one of those moments where everybody would have oohed and awed. Like, that was a harsh line from Christian. That was savage. And Christian said that he thinks Edge is lying to himself about still being able to perform at a high level. Edge said that, yeah, coming back and delivering, living up to the expectations, it's like going to the bottom of Mount Everest with no crew, no equipment, and having to scale the mountain. Edge said that he doesn't know how many cylinders are left under his hood. Christian felt that Edge is just making excuses about everything, and then Christian, another bomb here, brought up Edge's mom. You know, that's when it's really getting personal, and said that if Edge isn't going to be the old Edge, he might as well just go home now. However, Christian said they're all pulling for Edge. They have confidence in him. Then we had Randy Orton show up backstage, well, just appearing on the big screen. Said he's tired about hearing about Edge and Randy Orton. And Orton said, what is Edge going to do when Edge cannot live up to expectations? And then said that Edge will be a broken man and will be forced to go back home to his family, to his kids. Orton finished his promo by saying the redemption of Edge will be over at Backlash. Edge had one thing to say. No, it's not. He threw down the mic and walked away. I thought this was a good segment. I thought Christian did a really good job. They're trying to make the most of this storyline and try to make this interesting with the greatest match ever hashtag or tagline, whatever you want to call it. So it was very solid. Best thing on Raw. If I was going to recommend anything from this show, this would be the segment. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who's supposed to be the new face of Raw, Owens or Edge? Well, I think it's supposed to be McIntyre right now. He's the WWE champion after all. Nick Glavin with a $2.79 super chat says, this was a decent segment, good promo by both. I agree with that. Good promo by all of them. Orton, Edge, Christian, I thought all of them did a very good job here. Got a $5 super chat from TJS. Thank you for that, TJS. He says, the more of Bayley I see, the happier I am. I thought you were into EC3. He continues here. Also, Drew McIntyre hasn't looked even slightly weak since the Royal Rumble. Thoughts? The next Reigns? Well, he is the WWE champion, so I think he should look dominant. And he did beat Brock Lesnar, so the guy that beats Brock Lesnar, you should go with him. He should not be losing anytime soon. And I think it's the right move to push Drew McIntyre as a dominant champion. That's how it should be done. And TJS is thirsty in the chat room. When did thirsty become a term? I noticed a lot of people post that now. The legendary Mike B with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, no DQ is greater than any other wrestling YouTube channel, hashtag facts. Well, thank you, Mike B. I do appreciate that. Thank you for your support, and thank you to everybody else that continues to support the site and spread the word. I know some of you are doing it, and I very much appreciate it. So again, if you guys want to help out the channel, best thing you can do is just tell a friend. Go on Twitter and at somebody who's a WWE fan. Just message them and say, hey, let's talk wrestling. Check out Aaron Riff's channel. Start a conversation about it. Anything to spread the word, again, is very helpful. We had MVP interviewed backstage, and he was interrupted by R-Truth, who was trying to find a hiding place. MVP called him a clown. We had Lashley show up and put the full Nelson on R-Truth, laid him out, but nobody bothered to even cash in and try and win the 24/7 title. Not Lashley, not MVP, not even some scrub in the back. Nobody. I mean, that's how little the 24/7 title matters now. Nobody's even backstage. I mean, half of them got fired, the guys that were competing for it, but nobody even bothers to try and pin R-Truth for the title. So it's like, put this to pasture already. Enough. My man, Hank Schrader on the shitter, is back with a $5 super chat. Says, I did my usual, turned on Raw, tried to watch more than 5 minutes, could not do it, and then tried to stay awake to watch the big dog, Aaron Rift. I made it. I'm glad you were able to make it, Hank. I'm glad that you're here. I love that username. In my opinion, the best username in the entire No DQ galaxy. Next up, we had the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits in their latest competition, which was a series of competitions. The first one was a 1,600-meter dash, which the Street Profits picked out. They won. The Raiders chose the second competition, which was archery. Vikings won that one. In the process, a guy got hit with an arrow in the foot. Ha ha, very funny. The third contest from the Street Profits selection was flipping cups. They won that one, of course, because they know everything about red cups. Fourth contest was a sword fight, chosen by the Raiders, of course. They won. Well, actually, the Profits just forfeited. More specifically, Ford forfeited the competition. He was just having none of it. Fifth match was a game of hurdles. Ivar just ran through the hurdles. You're supposed to jump over them. Profits won that one. Sixth contest was stick fighting, which the Vikings won. And then the seventh was a dance-off. Profits danced to Shawn Michaels, and they did the Michaels and Diesel taunt. And then Ivar started dancing to Fandango, charming one of the judges who was female. She picked the Raiders, although while she thought Ivar was cute, Eric, not so much. The other two judges, though, were men. They were not impressed. They picked the Profits. We then had shot put as the eighth game, which the Profits won, so they were in the lead here. But we had a turkey eating contest for the ninth competition. Profits lost that one. And then the 10th match was a pole vault, which the Raiders also won, and it was a tie. Who decided to do 10? If you're doing a competition, why not do an odd number so there's a guaranteed winner? I talked way too much about this, by the way. The only part of this segment I would recommend checking out was the dance-off. That was kind of amusing. Everything else was just time filler, in my opinion. Just felt like a waste of time. Not even funny or entertaining, just dumb. So we had Apollo Crews come out to new music, and I'm still on the fence if this is good music or not. I kind of liked his old music. Dun 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 dun. It was kind of catchy. It was working for me, but this new one, it has lyrics. Still don't know how it goes off the top of my head, but maybe it'll grow on me. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't light my fire right off the bat. Let's just put it that way. He cut a promo before this next match. He said he's so excited to defend the U.S. Championship against the winner of this triple threat match between Angel Garza, Andrade, and KO. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, at least Apollo cuts better promos than Ricochet. Well, you were so correct, I guess, on that one. Oofman says, the Doors light my fire. That's a good song, by the way. So we had this triple threat match. Garza and Andrade made their entrance. KO attacked both of them before the commercial. But after the commercial, the heels gained the upper hand. And you know the drill here. Heels work together for a while, and then eventually they start having dissension. They start fighting. Owens managed to get the upper hand. He hit the Owens stunner on Garza, but then Andrade moved Owens away and pinned his own partner in crime to win a U.S. Championship match against Apollo at the pay-per-view. Backstage, we had the woman who looks like Charlotte interviewing Charlotte. Short Charlotte interviewing tall Charlotte, I suppose. Talking about the NXT match and Charlotte losing her title. Charlotte brought up how she was never pinned, but she reached her goal in NXT. She elevated the brand. And then Asuka came in, started dancing around. Charlotte was asking Asuka if she takes anything serious. Asuka was like, yes, she does. And she slapped Charlotte right across the face. We had Andrade and Garza arguing backstage. Zelina Vega was angry. She ordered them to walk off camera, so they did. We had a Kurt Angle promo about the greatest wrestling match ever. He said Edge and Orton will bring out the best in each other. He said that there's a lot of pressure on these guys with the tagline, but he thinks they'll deliver. And he went with Edge as his prediction to win at the pay-per-view. We had Drew McIntyre chatting backstage with the Viking Raiders. Talked about having a celebration later with some turkey legs. Poor Viking Raiders, they're just a total comedy team now. I remember when they were the War Raiders and they were badass, and now they're just comedy. Poor guys. We had an MVP lounge with Bobby Lashley supposed to be the guest, but instead Drew McIntyre came out. MVP said that Lashley is going to beat him with the full Nelson. McIntyre said that MVP really doesn't know all that much about the full Nelson. What he does know a lot about is the Claymore, because he's been hit with it so much. And McIntyre wanted to know, what can MVP teach Lashley with 0 world title reigns? Oh, snap. That was savage. He then started a countdown, telling MVP to leave. That's when Lashley showed up. MVP attempted to attack Drew McIntyre, got hit with the headbutt, and that's when the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits came out. We had a tag team match between the Vikings and Lashley and MVP. Profits were at ringside. McIntyre was at ringside. Lana was not there. She was backstage. She was interviewed during the match, and she said that MVP's just a leech, but she's respecting her husband's wishes, and being backstage has actually helped her focus on her own career. She tried to make a positive out of this whole situation, but she's confident that her husband's going to win the title, yada, yada, yada. Back to the match. Lashley speared Ivar on the outside of the ring, and then he tagged in, put the full Nelson on Eric, and Eric tapped out. So not only is Eric not attractive to the ladies, but he's tapping out here, which, you know, Lashley should be looking strong. He's the #1 contender for the world title, but why even put Vikings in this spot in the first place? Just let them do their shit with Street Profits. Did we really even need Vikings out there jobbing to Lashley and MVP? We had the Street Profits attempting to help out because Lashley put the full Nelson on Ivar as well. They could not pull Lashley off. It finally took the Claymore from Drew McIntyre to get Lashley out of the ring. And the announcers hyped up the matches for Backlash. And I think Byron Saxton said that Lashley and McIntyre could be the greatest fight ever at Backlash. I still think WWE should just go all out with the trolling. Every match should be the greatest match for whatever it is. Greatest fight ever. Greatest handicap match ever. Greatest women's tag match ever. Greatest Sheamus match ever. Greatest Raw women's title match ever. Greatest kickoff match ever. They should just troll everybody and make every match the greatest ever to go along with the theme. We had our main event, Charlotte versus Asuka. In case you did not get enough Charlotte Flair on this show, you got more Charlotte and Asuka. We had Bayley and Sasha come out for commentary, and the Iconics were also there. The Iconics ended up jumping Bayley and Sasha, beating them up to set up their match on Sunday. You know, I guess to get their heat back, like anybody thinks there's a chance in hell Iconics could win the titles on Sunday. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, an EC3 segment is the greatest bathroom break ever. Oh, poor EC3, always getting dissed by Psycho Jet Black. Psycho, you got to get a picture with EC3 someday and approach him and say, I'm the guy that disses you on every single no DQ stream. I dare you. Anyways, back to the match here, which was technically really good. But here's the thing, guys. I did not care about it at all. I was so done with Charlotte. I think she's completely overexposed. And I was even telling Caitlin this during the show. I'm like, who in their right mind would stay up to watch the main event of Charlotte and Asuka knowing that it's just going to end with Nia Jax interfering? I mean, come on now. I mean, it was so obvious, and that's why, like, I could not get invested in this match because I'm like, when's Nia coming out? It's just, I could not get into this match at all. The combination of just waiting for Nia and being sick of Charlotte, I mean, they could have had a 6-star match, 7-star match in the Tokyo Dome, and I still would not have cared about it. And sure enough, Nia Jax comes out. She gets on the apron. You guys know the drill. Stupid baby face. Asuka gets distracted. Hits the hip attack, the butt bump, whatever you want to call it. You know, why not just let Nia get in the ring and cause a DQ? Increase your win-loss record. Oh, wait. They don't matter in WWE. I forgot. Big boot from Charlotte from the distracted Asuka, and pinned her 1, 2, 3. After the match, Asuka came in and hit a Samoan drop to have the final moment to close out this edition of Monday Night Raw. This one was a real struggle for me. This Raw felt so long, the 3 hours, I was really having a tough time. DJW with a $25 super chat. Thank you so much for that, DJ. Says, sup, bro? I'm going to use one of your questions to ask you on the review video. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you looking forward to Backlash on Sunday? I feel like Lashley versus McIntyre is going to be lackluster. Could it be the worst pay-per-view in 2020? I'm not really feeling the show that much. I guess I would go with a 4 or a 5. To me, it's probably the least anticipated pay-per-view of the year so far. At least Money in the Bank had the novelty of the match being at the headquarters, and WrestleMania was WrestleMania, the first pandemic show. But this one, I'm just like, not really feeling it too much. But thank you for that, DJ. I do appreciate it. And the game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, we all know Nia Jax is losing to Asuka at the pay-per-view. It would have been nice for Asuka to beat Charlotte, maybe saving as storyline for Asuka to overcome Flair. Well, I guess the idea is that after Backlash, Charlotte will get her opportunity and she'll say, Asuka's never beaten me. I've beaten her 3 times now. And they'll have their match, whether it's at Extreme Rules or SummerSlam. guessing that'll be coming up pretty soon. But instead of the stupid babyface routine, why not just have the referee take a bump? They haven't done a ref bump in a while. Referee gets knocked down, Nia runs in and attacks her, and then Charlotte covers Asuka and wins. Instead of the stupid babyface. Like, change it up, for crying out loud. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Lars Sullivan and Jackson Riker should form a tag team. Why is that, Psycho Jet Black? Enlighten me on that. I mean, I know why, but I'm not going to say it. Ken Terminated by Google with a $3 super chat says, do you ever fall asleep during Raw? Sounds tiresome. No, I don't, but it is a struggle to focus on the show. Like, I sometimes get caught up in Twitter convos or Facebook convos, but I try to stay focused on the show as much as possible. All right, letter grade. I am going with a C-, which I think is generous. But I will give Raw C-, partly due to the Peep Show segment, which I thought was pretty solid. Tic Tat Tat with a C-, Jeremy Dorset with a C+, D Ross 2 with a D, Jesse with a D, Michael Wayne with a D+, Mike B says C-, and I'm being generous. Mr. Dark Fantasy with a C-, Shaddy Snake with a D-, Matt Helms with a C, Colin Andrew with a C, Kevin Luke with a D, Nathan Washington with a D+, and Dr. NXT Scorpio with a D. And CC Drink with a C-. Colin Andrew says Christian saved it with a C. Yeah, was it the best go-home show? I will say that much. So, tomorrow night, we will be doing our predictions for the Backlash pay-per-view. It could be the greatest pay-per-view of all time. It could be the greatest predictions video of all time. But to find out, you have to tune in. So tune in tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Join the chat room. Leave your comments. You guys can send your comments. I will post them on the video screen. You guys can have your comments featured and seen by thousands of people. So stay tuned, spread the word, and of course, continue being safe. Stay positive with all the craziness in the world. And I will see you guys next time.